Ed Big Daddy Roth working on his Beatnik Bandit custom car in the early 1960s. A poster promoting no more than 2 to 3 children per family. The red triangle is a symbol of the birth control propaganda campaign. India, 1972. Philippe Petit crossing the void between the 2 World Trade Center towers, 1974. Cultural Revolution in China, Red Guards in Tiananmen Square, 1966. David Bowie in his iconic stage costume designed by Japanese designer Kansai Yamamoto, 1970s. An American A-20 Havoc bomber attacks a Japanese transport, 1943. Early in his career, Sylvester Stallone was so low on cash, he was forced to sell his dog, Butkus, for $40. When he landed Rocky, he bought the dog back for $15K and gave him a role in the movie, 1970s. Children's Fashion Contest, Harlem, 1928. A farmer with his wife and 4 children outside their farmhouse in Williams County, North Dakota, 1937. Glass negative of suffragist, feminist, and photographer Marie Hoeg in her studio, posing with her short hair and a dagger, circa 1890. Circa 1950. Crowds of people look at the aftermath of an accident in which a lorry has been hit by a bus and then overturned. During a heatwave in 1968, Tower Bridge of London overheated and locked open for 2 hours. In this photo, you can see the city firefighters trying to cool it down. The day Playboy bunnies went on strike, 1975. Able nuclear test, 23 kilotons, airburst 160 meters, Bikini Lagoon, 1946. In 1908, German apothecary Julius Neubronner trained pigeons to fly with cameras. The pigeons were used during World War I, but were not very successful. On the streets of Tehran during the Islamic Revolution, 1979. Jewish refugees queue for soup near the shelter at 33 Nalevki Street, Warsaw Ghetto, World War II. Alternative fashion in Russia in the 1990s, models from the LEM Theater, 1989. Suffragettes March in Washington for Women's Rights, March 3, 1913. A crowd surrounds demonstrators, blocking their path during the parade. Three children wearing scary masks for Halloween. Childhood photo of Woodrow Wilson at 14 years old, 1871. When Princess Diana broke the royal rules for her son William by taking part in the sports day running race at her son's school. Sign warning of a sniper in Sarajevo, early 1990s. Traffic jam in Detroit, 1928. Liberal leadership in Czechoslovakia attempted to loosen overarching Soviet restrictions on human rights. Clashes between protesters and Soviet forces reached a fever pitch when the latter invaded on August 20, 1968. Unemployed workers sleeping in the bandstand at a park, 1938. Armed soldier standing guard with his gun raised in front of a looted store, Belmont Prescription Pharmacy, during the 1967 Newark riots. Alternative fashion in Russia in the 1990s, designed by Sandra Straukaide, 1992. (1994) Graves of Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs at Zitra Stadium at Sarajevo during the siege of Sarajevo in the Civil War. Winston Churchill moved to tears following a tribute to his legacy shortly after his resignation as Prime Minister, 1955. Barry Obama and his fellow classmates protesting against homework, Honolulu, Hawaii, 1970s. Stylish girl on roller skates, circa 1900s. Inge Moraz, Siesta of a Lottery Ticket Vendor, Plaza Mayor, Madrid, 1955. Harlem, 1934. Duke and Duchess of York, the future King George VI and Queen Elizabeth of England, with their baby daughter, Princess Elizabeth, the future Queen Elizabeth II of England. Photo from the Titanic movie set, 1997. Selling flowers to raise funds for the Red Cross, Thargomindah, circa 1916. As fellow troopers aid wounded buddies, a paratrooper of A Company, 101st Airborne, guides a medical evacuation helicopter through the jungle foliage to pick up casualties during a 5-day patrol of an area southwest of Hue, South Vietnam, 1968. German soldiers rejoice after receiving news of Warsaw's capitulation, 1939. The 9th Avenue derailment that happened on September 11, 1905. United States postal workers in Washington, D.C. with their new Autoped scooters in 1917, they could reach a top speed of 35 miles per hour. Veiled Coptic women in 1918. Hillary Clinton in Tokyo, Japan, 1993. Submarine Control Room, 1918. White-only taxis, Georgia, 1962. (1953) Howdy Doody shows Clarabelle the Clown pays a one-week visit to the Dolan family in Boone County, West Virginia, after Linda Dolan was the winner of the I'd Like Clarabelle to Visit Me Because contest. Sophia Loren, Rome, 1957. In 1979, 16-year-old Brenda Spencer opened fire at her school. When asked why, she said, "I don't like Mondays." Sleeping Beauty castle seen a few months before Disneyland's grand opening in 1955. Venice Beach, Los Angeles electric sidewalk car carrying about 20 sitting passengers, including the driver. Sitting stationary on the sidewalk in front of a barber shop, see year over 1920. BA-20M armored cars on Manezhnaya Square in Moscow before the parade on November 7, 1940. A family of roofers made a thatched roof for his car. The used car, bareheaded, was bought for $25, but when the owner wanted a roof, he discovered it cost $45 and decided to make his own. Mary Fields, better known as Stagecoach Mary, circa 1825. Demonstration against the Vietnam War, United States, 1970. French tank crews in Strasbourg decorate their vehicle with a captured address plate. 1944. Marine Corps Sergeant Bill Gnaust, left, and Joe Rosenthal photograph U.S. Marines at the second flag raising on Iwo Jima during World War II, February 23, 1945. Foot binding, China, 1880s. British gunners deploy a BL 6-inch Mech 7 naval gun during the alarm at the coastal battery at Fort Shornmead. The soldiers were rehearsing a performance when the alarm was raised, 1941. About 3-year-old boy, dressed in a child-sized KKK robe and pointed hat, touches his reflection in a riot shield as a black trooper holding the shield looks down at him. Gainesville, GA, in 1992. The judge's bench at the Nuremberg trials, 1945. Frank Zappa and D. Snyder, PMRC, United States Senate hearing 1985. Crowd members at the 1964 Democratic National Convention holding up signs in support of President Lyndon B. Johnson. A bank robber shoots at a security camera in Cleveland, 1975. British troops organize a crowd of Germans to watch a documentary about the crimes of Hitler's Nazi regime, 1945. Newark riots. Newark police officers fire at a fleeing Billy Furr, July 1967. Suffragette March, London 1911, by Christina Broome, the United Kingdom's first female press photographer. Louis Armstrong's performance at the Steel Pier, Atlantic City, 1965. Before delivery trucks, one department store ran Chicago with 700 horses and 400 wagons. Marshall Field's delivery wagons lined Holden Court at the State Street store in 1897. Robert Capa, Hankou, China, 1938. Aftermath of an air raid. Salvador Dalí, 1955. Dirt and poverty in a Roma camp near Arnhem in 1923. Recycling in London during the war, out of necessity. Hornsey, London, England, 1943. French President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. United States President Gerald Ford, taking a pool bath and having a cocktail. White discussing world geopolitics. Fort-de-France, 1974. Russian Polikarpov Iron 16 embedded in the snow, deck 1941. The northern French city of Saint-Lô lies in ruins in November 1944. Benito Mussolini is arrested, 1915. Hyperinflation in Germany in 1923, money became the cheapest material for heating rooms and lighting kitchen stoves. Ku Klux Klan pilots, Virginia, March 1922. Alligator going down a slide in Los Angeles, circa 1900. At the city's early alligator farm, live reptile shows turned baby and adult alligators into tourist entertainment. A Palestinian girl cries because of Israeli soldiers' violence, 1989, during the First Intifada. Angus Young riding on Bon Scott's shoulders at the Glasgow Apollo in Scotland in 1978. Residents of liberated Belgrade embrace a Soviet tank driver after the end of the fighting for the city, 1944. Before NASA finalized the moonsuit, inventor Alan Hazard was already testing his own version in a Mojave Desert lava crater in 1962. His proposed design was built to carry its own oxygen and even food. Princess Diana attended the London premiere of Jurassic Park, held on July 15, 1993. Mermaid show at Weeki Wachee Springs State Park, Spring Hill, Florida, 1940s. Bunch of messenger boys dressed up in 1935's hottest costume, an Eddie Cantor mask. The German aviatrix, Captain Hannah Reich, shakes hands with German Chancellor Adolf Hitler after being awarded the Iron Cross Second Class at the Reich Chancellery, 1941. Stolen cars dumped under the FDR in the 1970s New York. An elephant named Mae West accepts an apple from a passing tram driver while taking her morning exercise along Gray's Inn Road, London, 16th December 1936. Grace McDaniels and her son Elmer photographed in the early 1940s. Grace was born with a rare condition known today as Sturge-Weber syndrome. British airman smiles for the camera before boarding a ship leaving France and heading to England. Circa 1940, the ship's mascot, a baby magpie, sits perched on his cap. A young Ian McKellen in London 1969, years before global fame on stage and screen. The San Francisco earthquake and fire, April 18, 1906. The St. Francis Hotel, rear view. The ruins of the Fairmont Hotel can be seen on the hill in the background. A barefooted Italian girl plays with a bird in Naples, Italy, 1900. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler became fast friends immediately after meeting at Chicago's I.O. Improv Theater and joked that their dreams were as big and unshaped as our eyebrows. 1993. A samurai with long bow from Satsuma Domain, Japan, 1860. Dead pheasants are counted after a shoot at Leverstock, Hampshire, November 7, 1911. Bulgaria, 1981. Communists celebrate the opening of the Buzluda Monument, commemorating the 90th anniversary of the Bulgarian Communist Party's founding back in 1891. Joan Cusack in 1993. Mob shakes and screams at African-American family passing by in their car, Clinton, Tennessee, 1956. The Space Needle and the Seattle Monorail, March 1962. Distribution of free radios on the birthday of propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels, Germany, 1938. James Dean with Sammy Davis Jr. at the Villa Capri restaurant in Hollywood, 1955. Betty Brosmer, 1950s. An Ainu woman from northern Japan with tattooed lips. The upper lip is slashed during childhood, and ashes are rubbed in to leave a scar, circa 1960. A survivor of the Dora Mittelbau concentration camp holds a captured SS guard by the hair, 1945. Sami men with transport reindeers, 19th century. Katharine Hepburn skateboarding in 1967, snapped by her nephew Jack Grant. French soldiers hold back a crowd during a parade celebrating the liberation of Montpellier, 1944. A man sleeping in a stone sarcophagus in an East London church during Blitz in November 1940. Defenses during the Civil War. Savannah, Georgia environs. View of Fort McAllister on the Ogeechee River. 1864. Punk culture, 1980s. A memorial ceremony for French soldiers killed during the landing in Provence, 1945. Child sleeping inside a building in Naples, Italy, where they had taken refuge from airstrikes during World War II, September of 1943. Longtime makeup artist Charles Schramm, who got his start working with the crushed gypsum used as snow in The Wizard of Oz, 1939, working on The Twilight Zone, 1960. The bride dances at the wedding. Demonstration of the rocket belt jetpack, Fort Bragg, 1961. Ethiopian partisan leader, Abebe Aragai, giving a speech to his fellow fighters, taken during the Allied liberation of Ethiopia from fascist Italian occupation, East African Campaign, 1940-1941, 1968, Washington, D.C. riots. Tourists peer into mouth of Halemaumau, or House of Everlasting Fire, the inner crater of Kilauea, the most active volcano in the world, at the time, 1930. Joan Blondel, 1933. Kurt Cobain cries after an emotional set. (1997) Two Palestinian Hamas bombers committed a terror attack in Mahana Yehuda Market in Jerusalem.